You're listening to CBS Sports Radio. We are all sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Strong opinions and your phone calls. Expected here. CBS Sports Radio.
Hey, football fans. The Armchair Quarterback Show is back. Saturday mornings, 9 a.m. to noon Eastern. A 3-hour wake-up show that'll cover it all. College football, the NFL, fantasy football, and Major League Baseball. It's the Armchair Quarterback Show, 9 a.m. Eastern to noon Eastern, Saturday mornings, right here on the Armchair Quarterbacks 1 YouTube channel.
The Glory Hole Theme Park. We all like speaking rodents to entertain and educate our kids. And now with Jerry Gerbil, the kids have someone they can really relate to.
Go on, kids, have fun. I know it's safe.
Glory Hole Theme Park. Open every day till 3 a.m. Come live the mystery.
TGIF on the Armchair Quarterbacks. Justin Waller and Mac McGee are back at it every Friday evening right here on the Armchair Quarterbacks YouTube channel and your local CBS Sports affiliates. We're talking the NFL, Major League Baseball, and Southern football, so grab you a cold one. It's finally Friday on the Armchair Quarterbacks. Waller and McGee getting you ready for your sports weekend. Hey, Braves fans, the Armchair Quarterbacks YouTube channel are bringing you Braves baseball all season long. Hi, I'm Mac McGee, and I'll be bringing you Braves baseball play-by-play for the Braves fans out there, for all of Braves country. So pull up an armchair and join us for Braves country baseball, first pitch to last pitch, Tuesday and Friday nights, right here on the Armchair Quarterbacks YouTube channel. Join the Armchair Quarterback Show for its 9th season. And this year, we're doing it all in one show. Saturday mornings, 9 a.m. Eastern to noon Eastern. We'll be talking college football, the SEC, the Big Ten, other big games of the day. We'll be diving into the National Football League, focusing on the Southern football teams and all the big matchups throughout the land. And doing it while covering the point spreads, the over-unders, the prop bets, fantasy football. We'll tell you who to start and who to sit, and everybody's favorite, the stupid underdog picks. We'll cover Major League Baseball all the way through October and beyond. It's the Armchair Quarterback Show, 9 a.m. Eastern to noon Eastern, Saturday mornings on Armchair Quarterbacks 1 YouTube channel. Hey, football fans. The Armchair Quarterback Show is back. Saturday mornings, 9 a.m. to noon Eastern. A 3-hour wake-up show that'll cover it all. College football, the NFL, fantasy football, and Major League Baseball. It's the Armchair Quarterback Show, 9 a.m. Eastern to noon Eastern, Saturday mornings, right here on the Armchair Quarterbacks 1 YouTube channel. TGIF on the Armchair Quarterbacks. Justin Waller and Mac McGee are back at it every Friday evening right here on the Armchair Quarterbacks YouTube channel and your local CBS Sports affiliates. We're talking the NFL, Major League Baseball, Southern football, so grab you a cold one. It's finally Friday on the Armchair Quarterbacks. Waller and McGee getting you ready for your sports weekend.
If only the world was less like this.
I could use a smoke.
Hey, put that out.
And more like this.
I could use a smoke.
You murderer! I might have children one day.
Smoking kills unless you kill first. If you're around a smoker, you will die. Smokers may look relaxed and like they're having fun. Don't believe it. Vote yes on Proposition 421. Let's outlaw smoking everywhere, even in people's homes, and allow honest citizens to legally kill anyone who smokes. Let's live in a world without smokers. Prohibition works. Let's prove it. It's time to smoke the smokers. Vote yes on Proposition 421.
Join the Armchair Quarterback Show for its 9th season. And this year, we're doing it all in one show. Saturday mornings, 9 a.m. Eastern to noon Eastern, we'll be talking college football, the SEC, the Big Ten, other big games of the day. We'll be diving into the National Football League, focusing on the Southern football teams and all the big matchups throughout the land. And doing it while covering the point spreads, the over-unders, the prop bets, fantasy football. We'll tell you who to start and who to start. Everybody's favorite, the stupid underdog picks. We'll cover Major League Baseball all the way through October and beyond. It's the Armchair Quarterback Show, 9 a.m. Eastern to noon Eastern, Saturday mornings on Armchair Quarterbacks 1 YouTube channel. Hey, Braves fans, the Armchair Quarterbacks YouTube channel are bringing you Braves baseball all season long. Hi, I'm Mac McGee, and I'll be bringing you Braves baseball play-by-play for the Braves fans out there, for all of Braves country. So pull up an armchair and join us for Braves country baseball, first pitch to last pitch, Tuesday and Friday nights, right here on the Armchair Quarterbacks YouTube channel.
Good afternoon. Good evening, I guess. 6:30. We're doing a pop-up fantasy football draft. We're going to start doing a few of these throughout the week. We're going to do one tonight. I think we're going to do one again Thursday night, so let's go ahead and get it rolling. I'm going to jump into the Underdog Fantasy. I want to go ahead and share my screen with you and get that organized. We're going to go ahead and jump into the $5 puppy and make sure we got the 30-second. I don't want to be here for that long. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and jump in. This is a live draft, and first one we've done here on Underdog. These are now this is a best ball draft, and if you haven't played them before, essentially the computer starts your best guy. So your best guy that comes out and on top each week, that's the guy that's going to be getting all the points for you. So in that respect, it's it's kind of fun, and we're just going to kind of go from here and get ready for this as we're coming here on the fly. And I've got the number 2 pick. We're waiting for it to start. It doesn't alert you as quickly. We got 30 seconds. Okay, we got 30 seconds, and going to try to get this thing rolling here as fantasy football. Let's be honest, fantasy football's here, and want to do a few more of these every week. Going to do, like I said, one tonight. Going to do one Thursday night, and then we'll see what we got that Saturday morning show, so there's a good chance we're going to be doing a lot of them on there as well. So we get ready. The number 2 pick, I got to figure number 1's going to be Jonathan Taylor, and it was. I'm going to go ahead and take Christian McCaffrey. I know a lot of people are steering clear of him, but I look at it as give me bang for the buck, and when he is healthy, assuming, let's say, even if he only plays 10, 11, 12 games, he should give you a high ceiling every time he does, and that's what I'm looking for in him. And so hopefully you can see that. I'm going to adjust it here in a second as I try to share all this, let everyone know that we're doing this on social media. So give me a second on that, and then we are ready to roll. We are now ready to roll. And looking at what we'll do here
If you're just joining in, welcome. Fantasy football draft. The first one we've done live like this, a real money draft. So what we have going on here, I'm going to try to reduce the screen a little bit so you can get a better look. I guess you don't realistically need to see my team, so I'll go ahead and do that and close the screen up a little bit like that. And I'll just let you know where I'm at and who I've got going on. Unfortunately, they've got this huge empty space on Underdog that I wish you could just go away from, but we will play with it as we go on, and we'll probably have a that might be a little better look for y'all to see. Do that. We'll do that on the draft board, and then that way y'all can see what we've got going on. Might have to go back and forth because to double check what my team looks like, but it should be pretty easily laid out for me. So we'll see how this looks. Anyways, welcome in. Is it not on the mic? I'm assuming I'm on the mic. If you can't hear me, it's showing that you can hear me. If you can't hear me, let me know. Okay. So I've got Christian McCaffrey. I'm waiting for the turn, and what I'm looking at here is basically what's going to be available. Unfortunately, the way they do this, they don't have it where you can sit it side by side. You would think the best available would be sitting off to the side. It's not for me, so I'm gonna have to keep going back and forth. So I'll try to do the best I can there. It's coming back around on the turn, and I've got McCaffrey, and hopefully the mic is working well. I don't know why it would not be. I've got McCaffrey and waiting to see some of these guys that have already gone. Nothing really outlandish. I will say this: Deebo Samuel went very, very early, but you'll see some people take some really wild swings on these types of drafts. And for my money, I'm kind of scared of taking Saquon Barkley this week. Let me see if I can hopefully that helps out the microphone situation, Maverick. I just saw the top comment. All I saw was the bottom comment a second ago. All right. So here we go. It's almost my turn. Hill's gone, Mixon's gone. I've got Christian McCaffrey. I'm looking at this as it's going to come down to me, and I'm sitting here at the bottom. A couple of the guys that I'm looking at is Kamara. I would love to get a second running back with such a top shelf, and he does fall to me. I could go wide receiver, but I feel like there's going to be a lot of wide receivers available. It doesn't look like Kamara's suspension is going to come in to play anytime soon, so I'm going to roll the dice. If I get the top ceiling of Kamara and McCaffrey, we would be talking about fantastic season. And as soon as I draft again, I will put it back on the actual big board. All right. Chubb goes. That's fine by me. I'm not planning on taking a running back, and he goes and gets Pittman. So now I'm looking at a wide receiver, and I think what I'm going to try to do, I haven't gotten a lot of shares of him. I'm going to try to grab A.J. Brown and see if it will come up and come down again, and if I can go on for the Jalen Hurts. If not, I'll just have to adjust. I'll put the board back up there. But obviously, quarterbacks don't tend to come off the board very early, and I think I can probably get Hurts in around the 5th round. If I've got that combination of A.J. Brown, Alvin Kamara, Christian McCaffrey, I'm a little leery of A.J. Brown, to be perfectly honest with you, because I'm concerned about the production that you get from wide receivers that play for Jalen Hurts, but I'm going in very optimistic. Very optimistic. See, what is Scott saying here? I have some Sanders and Gainwell. Yeah, Sanders is interesting as well because he had such a bad year. You're going to get him at a good value. The question is, will he do this year more like he did in past years? Or, I mean, last year was brutal. I had him in one league, and this wasn't a best ball. This was a season long. It might have even been my dynasty league, but I was expecting solid things from him. I wasn't expecting the moon and the stars, and he was unstartable most weeks. So it's coming down again, and now these guys are really starting to milk it, because you always notice the first couple of rounds when they fly off the board, and then folks start. I've been in so many of these, and I'm in a bunch of these long ones. Saturday you can Thursday you can pretty much book it. We're going to be doing this at the same time. I'm probably going to shoot to do it right at 6:30. I jumped on a little early today. It's first time doing it this way. So I'm going to plan on being here at 6:30 Eastern for the next couple of weeks on Mondays and Thursdays going into the fantasy football season. I've got some issues with work. I might have to start it a little later than 6:30, but that's what I'm shooting for, 6:30 Eastern. So if you do want to jump in, I will show it. Problem is, man, these things fill up and there's no way to just hold it. So once you're in, you're in. And we'll go from there. We got some of the guys that I would have liked to have seen fall down to me are starting to come off the board. I'll tell you this right now, this Josh Allen thing that people draft him so high, I'm just not a fan of it. I had him last year in a couple of fantasy leagues, and I felt like he underperformed. And quarterbacks in general, I don't really want to grab them in the third round. You can get solid production out of quarterbacks from the 5th, 6th rounds on down the line. If you go out, I understand it a little bit. Let's see, what did this guy do here? I would understand it a little more if he had Stephon Diggs, but he doesn't even have Stephon Diggs. He has Swift and Harris. He's rolling a big dice to be able to go up, and now the 4th round is going to be the first time he gets a wide receiver. I'm telling you, his first wide receiver is going to be in the 4th round, I would think, unless he goes tight end here and really throws a monkey wrench into it. But unbelievable that the guy on the clock right now, he's got Cook and Jones and Moore, and then he finally went to Allen Robinson. And wow, Kittle. So he won't grab a wide receiver till the 5th round. That is really interesting. That's someone who's planning on throwing darts and hoping for the best later in the draft. I like to have some meat and potatoes guys at wide receiver. I don't like to see him go that. Ezekiel Elliott going in the 4th round. That's pretty good value, but I still think I think his best days are behind him, and I'm very cautious about drafting him. I figure wherever Zeke is falling in every draft, this isn't just best ball, this is an all drafts. I feel like I can get someone better at a better position or the guy right behind him, because I'd rather have a guy that I know. I just feel like Zeke's wheels are falling off, like Travis Etienne. I would much rather take the ceiling on Travis Etienne, especially in a best ball, than to take Ezekiel Elliott. All right, so it's about to come to me, so I need to put the best players available out here. And falling to me, I've got 2 running backs, I've got a receiver, and it's going to fall to me, and I don't need to go quarterback just yet. I'm looking at, I can go ahead and grab my tight end. So there's still an elite tight end. If I don't, I'm going to be swinging for the fences later on. So I think I'm going to go ahead and grab my tight end. So I get Waller at the 6. I'm looking at the bye weeks too. I don't like getting a bunch of guys. my elite guys to all have the same bye weeks. It doesn't really matter in best ball, but I'm just not a big fan when you get to the end of the draft and you go, my word, 9 guys have the week 14 bye or whatever. Yeah, what I'm expecting here, it's about to come back to me again, so I might as well put it back on the big board. What I'm expecting here is that I'll get a chance to get a good receiver. There's a couple of receivers that are sitting here. I'm not going to have the ability to grab Mahomes, so I don't want anything to do with Juju Smith-Schuster and vice versa. So I'm probably looking at, well, Brandon Cooks just went off the board. That was one of the guys I'm looking at. It's either Metcalf or Godwin. Metcalf, I'm going to go ahead and roll the dice and say that he's going to have a bounce back. I get that his quarterback situation is not that great, but he's still an elite wide receiver. As long as he doesn't eat too many damn M&Ms and all that other junk that he said that he eats on a daily basis, I should be okay. Looking and see who else is available here. Yeah, I saw Lamar, but the thing is, what I'm hoping is I get on the turn back down that I can grab Hurts because I have AJ Brown. See the way that draft fell, Mark Andrews went right before I picked Kamara. I was gunning for Andrews and I would have grabbed Lamar Jackson at that very spot. But instead, I don't have a lot of belief in any of their wide receivers. Yeah, that's where we differ, Scott. I don't like a quarterback really early. I don't mind taking him in the 5th round, 6th round, but I'm just not a big fan of taking him super early because I feel like you deplete everything else. And maybe I'm wrong in that thinking, but I like building the rest of my team and then seeing who I can pair my quarterback with on best ball. In a year-long draft where you're not doing best ball, you're having to do start and sit. I punt quarterbacks big time. Unless one just falls in my lap early in the draft, I will punt a quarterback because in year-long, a guy like Tom Brady's going to score just as many points as any other quarterback when he's out there throwing 40 touchdowns every year at his incredible 45 years old. So I don't mind punting it. It's a little different with best ball because you want to make sure that you can pair them up. We'll see how long the quarterback will fall. I might get burned on this because Lamar Jackson just went off the board. And when he goes off the board, that's usually starts a run. So we'll see what happens here. Herbert is off the board. I don't believe that Mahomes is still there, Murray's still there, and Hurts is still there. I'm hoping Hurts falls. If not, I might have to pivot. And if I have to pivot, I'll grab one of the other elite quarterbacks if someone decides to do something different. Right now, I've got my starting backfield. I've got my 2 of my 3 receivers set. And I've got my tight end. So the only thing I'm really missing on a weekly basis is a quarterback and whoever my second receiver. Now Mahomes goes, and that concerns me because now if there's a run on quarterbacks, I'm not going to get and look, I rolled the dice on that and it is what it is. I'll be fine if I don't end up getting the quarterback of my choice. And there's a good chance that I won't. He tends to go in the 5th, in the 6th round, but we'll just see what happens here. It really depends on the other. See, Kyler Murray just went, so there's a very good chance that he's not going to fall, but that's okay because I'll pivot. And I'm not one of these people that goes on these chases a run. If everyone's making a run on something, I'll go and grab the best available somewhere else because you can always make those points up. And it's nice to have your quarterback and receiver paired up, but I don't think it's a necessity by any means. See, Hurts goes, which is fine. I'll find someone else at that spot. Looking back now, when you see some of the players that are available, still got really good quarterback play available as it's heading towards me. And I am 4 picks away. So, and the guys that are in front of me, none of them have quarterbacks. So they could go on a run. And at that point, I'm going to pivot and just go get something else. Looking at the best quarterbacks that are still out there: Lance, Burrow, Brady, Dak. Now the way it's fallen, I wish I had waited on Waller, because didn't realistically need to go after him that early. Now, a guy that intrigues me because he's going to be suspended for the first 6 games, but when he comes off, DeAndre Hopkins has an incredible ceiling. And I have got a lot of shares of him reluctantly, but I think I'm going to grab him again. I see Jacobs sitting here. I don't want Devontae Smith if I don't, because I've already got AJ Brown. There's no sense in getting that if you don't have Hurts. So I'm going to go ahead and grab Hopkins. And now my receivers are set, and now I'll start looking at depth. And then I can honestly wait for quarterbacks, because some of these quarterbacks that are down around here, I view Brady, Dak, even with the injury concern with Stafford, I still think he's going to be okay. I view him with a better chance with down to Carr and Aaron Rodgers. All these guys are interchangeable on a weekly basis. I'm not going to chase that. I'm going to wait until it comes back around. So it's back to me again. Josh Jacobs concerns me. I don't think I want any part of Josh Jacobs, to be honest with you. I probably need to get some depth at this point. And what I can do here is I'm going to throw a little bit of a curveball. I'm going to grab Hunter Renfrow, because I'm going to eyeball later in the draft Derek Carr, which I think he's being underrated. And yeah, Dubs is another one. He's gotten so hot though. If you've noticed, Dubs' ADP is shot up like a cannon. So every single day, let me see where he is today. He was in the 150 range yesterday. See if he's gone up or gone down. Yeah, okay, he's at 158. He hasn't moved much yet, but he is absolutely shot up. Lance won't get back to me again though. I'm looking, because now I'm not going again for what they've got me at 18 picks away. So now, like at this point, I just kind of play the game of best available player. I'll either grab a quarterback on down at the bottom of 8, or if there's 2 that fit well with me, I'll wait to the turn on 9. Yeah, Ayuk and Lance. And if I had Kittle, I probably would have, to be honest with you, Scott, I probably would have already grabbed him. If I had Kittle, I think I would have done it. But a lot of things a factor. It was a little senseless for me to think that it was going to go down and up again and Hurts to fall to me. I hope for the best sometimes and hope things like that are going to fall into my lap, but there's usually not much of a chance of that. The one thing that would throw me off now is if like teams go out there and try to get 2-3 quarterbacks, you'll see that sometimes, get 2 or 3 quarterbacks in the first 10 rounds. And then that hurts you. But at the same token, you can stack up on receivers and running backs. My team right now, as I look at it looks pretty good. I mean, I've got McCaffrey and Kamara. I've got a really good wide receiver core. I had to get that 4th wide receiver because Hopkins is not going to play for the first 6 weeks. So when he comes off the first 6 weeks, I'll be money at some point. Unfortunately, Hunter Renfro's bye is before week 6, but that's okay. That's just 1 week, and I can deal with that. Looking at at the draft now, Pollard just went off. I think Pollard is very good value there. This guy gets Pollard in the 83rd pick, Zeke in the 45th, 41st pick. And I do think you're going to see a transition this year of Tony Pollard, at least with the split amount of carries and starting to, we saw it last year where they sit Zeke for, one or two or even three series in an entire half to just keep his legs fresh. Sky Moore just went off I'm more excited when a Sky Moore goes to the guy that has Patrick Mahomes. I'm a little surprised that the guy with Mahomes went Gibson and Sanders and did not grab Sky Moore at that point. And I know this guy who just drafted Stevenson has to be pissed because Dallas Goedert went right before he did, and he could have paired him up with Hurts. So Brady goes off the board. So that's the what I call the end of the big time glamour fantasy quarterbacks. Now what's left out there, you can grab two of the guys that are still out there and still get really good production. And I'm going to grab at least one, either coming down or on the turn. It depends on who is available at that point. Looking and see what is available at this point. I'm looking at the receivers. I'll probably do something else coming in at this turn. It's a little surprising that Trey Lance has fallen this far. And with that being said, he goes just, I was going to go ahead and bite the bullet and grab him. So Trey Lance goes, I was just about to grab him. I'm going to add some depth to my running back. I know that he's not, I know a lot of people get worried about the running back in New England, but Damian Harris is going to continue to be their goal line guy. So I'm going to grab him, and then when it makes the turn, I'm going to grab Carr. I don't suspect this guy. Who is he? He's got Herbert, and he does not have one of the Vegas receivers. So I would suspect that that's going to be available. He is the guy who's drafting right now. Just took Russell Gage. He's got Herbert as his quarterback. And he's got a lot of orange. He's already gotten his two main running backs at the top. Did find it interesting that Kareem Hunt is asking for a trade, and they are denying it. So Derek Carr is going to fall to me. I'm going to go ahead and grab him because I can pair him up with Renfro. And I've got Waller. So I've got my receiver. I've got my my receiver, my tight end. So that actually works out well with me. And the next time around, depending on what's out there, I might get my second quarterback, or I might punt it and get someone like a Jameis Winston, or see the other quarterbacks that are out there. You want to have at least two. Sometimes I go three, but I go three if I don't feel 100% about the guy who is, if my second quarterback is not someone that I feel a lot of love for. Like I've had some leagues where I've gotten a couple of Giants, so I feel like I got to grab Daniel Jones, but that means if I'm grabbing a Daniel Jones, I'm getting a third quarterback. There's no way in hell I'm rolling into an entire season because I don't know what they're going to do, and there's a possibility that he gets benched. So Carr and Renfro and Waller, that'll be a good one. And I'll tell you something else that I'll probably do at the very end, throwing a dart at this. Keelan Cole looked pretty good the other night on the preseason game, and I know he's not someone who's going to bust anything long on a regular basis with all the talent they have there. But if there's an injury for a week or so or whatever, he could give me big fantasy value. So I'll probably earmark him for the very bottom he's at the very bottom of the draft. But Keelan Cole's got a lot of damn talent, and used to play for the Jaguars, then went to the Jets. He is moved on the. I'll have to find him later. I don't see him down around here. I love Duvernay, by the way, for anyone that has a Lamar Jackson. If you've got Lamar Jackson, Duvernay is a guy that I think he could really benefit from. Nick Westbrook at Keene, that's another one. That's another late dart throw that I've liked, because along with Braxton Berrios, look, that guy moves the chains, and I know he's not, going to go out there and tear up the damn league, but at the same token, you're going to end up with some games where he sneaks into the end zone a couple of times. I don't even see Cole on this, but he may be way down there. I'm not going to worry about it. It's been a lot easier to find late in the draft. So it's coming back around. Let me see where we got as far as okay, Boyd, Gordon, Wilson, Woods, all those guys just went off the board. So bit of a receiving run, which always happens. For folks who aren't familiar with best ball, receivers are king because you're looking for the big score. And if you can have, a bare minimum, I want 8 receivers on my roster. There are times where I grab as many as 9 or more, but normally 8, because you want to have 2 tight ends. You want to have 2 quarterbacks, and depends on how many running backs. If you feel really good about your running backs, problem is I went and drafted 2 running backs that have some big time questions, with Kamara in a suspension and McCaffrey getting injured. So I'm going to have to go and I'm going to have some depth at running back, or I could have some weeks where it's just absolutely terrible. It's funny that Cook and Singletary go back to back like that. I think long term, especially when you're in a PPR league, I like James Cook over Singletary. I think Singletary is has kind of shown what his ceiling is, and it hasn't been that good. So now it's coming back to me. So I want to go ahead and set this up so I can get ready and not be caught flat-footed. I've got. So I'm 4 picks away. And that is True Hubbard. But he's also got competition with the running back they signed out of Tennessee, that if McCaffrey goes down, he could be stealing goal line. I'll tell you a sneaky running back, and see if there's a decent update here. Dameon Pierce is a guy that could be really explosive. Dameon Pierce, I know a lot of people aren't really familiar with him, but in college, Dameon Pierce was a very difficult athlete to corral. And if he can get the lead carries, if he can get 10, 15 touches a game, Dameon Pierce has got some explosiveness. His problem in college was he just wasn't very efficient from time to time, but when he got in the open space, he could absolutely take off. Rachaad White's another one. I don't feel as good about Rachaad White as I did when Fournette came in overweight. I was eyeballing White. So it's going to fall to me. I'm going to go ahead and take that flyer on Dameon Pierce, because I do think that he's going to be the starter. And when it comes back around to me, there's some good receiving options. Who are the quarterbacks? The quarterbacks that are left, nothing really jumps off the screen at me. Looking at just to kind of throw a monkey wrench into the situation. And I have not grabbed him. I don't know if I've got him in any of these best ball leagues. I'm going to go out, see where AP 519 goes here. But I think I'm going to go out and I need a receiver, and there's just too much love being thrown at Romeo Dobbs. I'm going to go ahead and grab him. And even if he's a bust, it takes away from someone in my league that's already grabbed Aaron Rodgers, which I'm sure he had him circled. Christian Watson just isn't getting enough write-ups to warrant drafting him as high as he's going. I know he's the second round pick, and I get that, but Christian Watson, he's almost being forgotten. And the only way I would grab a Justin Fields or a Tua Tagovailoa is if Tua Tagovailoa or Justin Fields, I would have to have a Bears receiver and a Dolphins receiver because there's so many question marks with those guys. I don't know if y'all saw it, but LeBron James came out tweeting about how talented Justin Fields is. And I don't even know where it came from because the Bears haven't played a single game. They haven't played a preseason game, but for whatever reason, he tweeted that out and it got a lot of publicity because it was LeBron. And all I'm thinking is, man, you better worry about fixing those Lakers before you start worrying about the. And LeBron doesn't have a tie to the Bears. I don't even know what the hell that's about. He's so random with the teams that he jumps on the bandwagon with. So it goes back down now. Let's see where we're at. I'm going to try to get, if Moore or Hubbard are still hanging out down there, I'm looking at now the way my team is set up. I got 4 solid running backs. I can really start targeting wide receivers. We got a long way to go, and I do need to get that second quarterback. There wasn't anything worth sitting there at quarterback that made me want to stop and, I've got to have this guy. Dotson, I know a lot of people are falling in love with this Jahan Dotson, but I still go back to the same thing. His quarterback is going to be Carson Wentz. And I just have a hard time. I don't want the number 2 receiver in Washington. I would have drafted the number 3 receiver in San Diego and Joshua Palmer. Gallup could be a late round steal for Turtle here. And he's got Dak Prescott. So I really like that move for him. Wide receivers in New England. I will never draft a receiver in New England. Not for 20 years have I drafted him. And it hasn't changed. Until Bill Belichick retires, I'm not drafting a receiver in New England. You don't know who you can rely on. You don't know. Oh, by the way, Rondell Moore that you're talking about, he went 2 rounds ago. Yeah, I get that theory with and I'm more on that when it comes to taking 2 quarterbacks by rounds 9 or 10 in best ball, but in season long, there's no way I'm taking my backup quarterback till late in the draft. It's going to be round 12 or 13 because I want the depth at the position that I know is going most likely to get banged up and get hurt. Running back and receiver. And as far as tight ends, once I get that big money tight end, I'm going to get a backup because you never know when they're going to blow up from week to week. But Honest Engine, I'm not going to worry about it because most of the tight ends that you get later in the draft, they put up such little production. It's not even worth writing home. Nyheim Hines just went, and I know the guy drafted number 1's got to be ticked off about that because he gets his handcuff. It's coming back to me, so I'm going to go ahead and put it back on the big board. Looking at the receivers that are still out there. Watson's still out there. And Landry, Chark, Pickens, Jameson Williams. I really like him. He's going to miss some time, but I really like Jameson Williams. His talent was very obvious. Quarterbacks, if I decide to go quarterback, Jameis Winston is the likely choice. Winston still puts up big time numbers. If I grab Winston, I may throw a flyer on a third quarterback, because at this point you're kind of grasping at straws. But most weeks, see, Derek Carr is there. I am going to go ahead and take Jameson Williams, and when it comes back around, I'm going to get my quarterback. Jameson Williams, when he's finally plays, and I think he'll be playing somewhere around the end of September, give or take. It might be a little before, might be a little after. When Jameson Williams finally gets on the field, people didn't see him in college. He was absolutely phenomenal. And how many wide receivers have come out of Alabama recently and have stunk? Not many. They're the cream of the crop. So quarterback comes back to, I'm going to go ahead and take my chances on Jameis Winston. Got Winston and Carr. There's probably a pretty good chance I'm going to go ahead and grab another receiver, another tight end, and another running back. Quarterback. I'll probably cap it with 5 running backs on this one. And with Ingram to help spell, Kamara's still there. And is Hubbard already gone? I think Hubbard's already gone. See, there's Dante Foreman. That's the guy that, he carried the load in Tennessee last year when Derrick Henry went down. And there's Hubbard. Hubbard has been kind of buried on the depth chart, and he was not that impressive when he played last year. He kept coming in, people kept expecting bigger things out of him, but honestly, I can't believe Christian Watson's still there. I thought about grabbing him. And if I had Aaron Rodgers, I definitely would have grabbed Watson. Another guy that I like just went off the board, Pickens. Pickens is a really good sleeper this year. Watson finally goes off the board. I could have paired up Jarvis Landry with Winston, but honestly, I'm not positive that Jarvis Landry hasn't seen his better days. Jarvis Landry, all his time in Cleveland, you could never expect him to do anything but the bare minimum. You're talking about 58 yards, and you're hoping he sneaks into the end zone. Hunter Henry, that's another disappointment. When New England went out and spent close to $100 million on their tight ends last summer, we all knew that it was a risk, but we thought maybe they're going to open up the offense and maybe they were going to do some things kind of like Hernandez and Gronk, and they didn't. Neither one of them got used very much. Henry's definitely the tight end to have, but neither one of them did very well. I was surprised that Johnny Smith just basically became, he was basically non-factor almost the entire year. And I don't know why, so Wan'Dale Robinson goes off the board, then Daniel Jones gets drafted. And all I'm thinking is, if you don't have Wan'Dale Robinson, why the hell do you want Daniel Jones? Because you're clearly grabbing him. So Tom Brady and Daniel Jones are his quarterbacks. That's a little scary. If I'm that guy, I'm definitely grabbing a third, because Brady, as good as he normally is, he is 45 years old. So if he gets banged up or isn't playing up to par because he's 45, Daniel Jones running your offense is a scary, scary situation. It's coming back to me. And there's still some pretty good players out there. Quarterback situation. All right, so it comes back to me, and I'm thinking I'm not willing to take the chance at Deshaun Watson. You know what, the hell with it. I'll draft Deshaun Watson as my third quarterback, and if he doesn't play, he doesn't play. So it's a little risky. But if I do, but if he plays, if he goes 10 games, 12 game suspension, but he comes back, you could have a really good situation there. Which means I'm definitely going to only go with 5 running backs. So I've got to make a decision. And I think the running back I'll go with, there's a couple of that are still out there. The tight ends, now that Higbee is not having to share any kind of time with Everett, I like his upside. And as a backup tight end, I think I might grab Higbee here. Tunyon, I'm not buying into. And Njoku, I do have Deshaun Watson, though. I'll tell you what, I'll go ahead and roll the dice with David Njoku. They did give him a lot of money. They're going to give him a lot of money. If I end up getting Watson playing and Njoku can be his safety valve, I'd be a little shocked if Watson got suspended for the entire season, though I know that's what they're gunning for. I don't know what everyone else thinks about that, but that's a big ask. And the thing that Major League Baseball did, doing 2 years on Trevor Bauer, and I know that's what a lot of people are pointing at. I still don't think that means Watson is going to get this big long suspension. 6 was too little, but if they come back and give him 8 or 10, the NFL will deal with it. They won't be in love with it, but they'll deal with it. And let's say he gets suspended for 10 weeks, 10 games, excuse me. That means that he comes back in week 11, week 12. I get, as far as the playoff run, I get a quarterback who will get out there and get in sync with his team for 2 or 3 games for the playoffs hit. And not a whole lot of folks are going to have that kind of matchup, Watson and Njoku, in best ball, especially who are drafting now. Now, once we end up getting the verdict, which should be coming out any day, any minute. It wouldn't surprise me if it came out tonight. I have not seen anything. I was working all day, but I normally keep an eye on the sports news. It's going to get back down to me, and I'll have the choice of one of those running backs, and that's what I'm going to do with the running back situation. Because we are in the 16th round, so I've got 3 more picks total, which means I could roll 7 receivers and 6 running backs, but that seems like a lot of running backs. So I'll probably just go with 5. I've got the 3 quarterbacks taking that that flyer with Watson and Yoku, if that strikes gold. And if it doesn't, to me, that's worth the late round flyer, because a lot of folks are going to draft a lot of guys here at the end. And see where we're at. We're at the turn. They're going to draft a lot of guys here at the end, and they'll be busts or they'll get injured. Keeper league, I get Swift at 44 and Higgins at 77. I mean, 44, you get Swift and 77 Higgins. That's phenomenal. And in a 12-team league, Zach, you should be sitting pretty. I've got a couple of keeper leagues that I've got some decisions to make, but I think I'm pretty much set on what I'm going to do. I'm losing a couple of guys on my on our auction keeper, because we have a rule that you can only keep them for 3 seasons. After that, you have to kick them back out into the pool. And so I'm losing Derrick Henry this year. I want to say that's the league that I'm losing Dalvin Cooks as well. So I'm going to be keeping some younger guys. I've got ETN in that league, so I'm planning on keeping ETN because I'll be able to keep him at a low dollar. So now it's coming back to me, and finally coming back to me. And what I am a little surprised at is that I named off all these other running backs, and assuming he doesn't go here, he did not. I've got Dameon Pierce. I'm going to go ahead and grab Marlon Mack. And at that point, I feel like I got the starting running back. And that's not the greatest feeling in the world, but I feel like I've got a pretty good set of players right there. Now I've got to go to wide receiver, and then I'll grab either a random wide receiver or a random running back at the end. Crowder is still out there. Not a big fan. His AJ Green's interesting because I've got Hopkins. He's going to miss 6 games, and AJ Green should benefit from that. So I'm going to go ahead and take Green. So that way I got Green and Hopkins, and I do want to make sure that on my wide receivers, and I'm not looking at glaring bye week troubles. I don't believe I am. The only thing I'm hating here is that Williams, Renfro, and Hopkins are all going to be missing in week 6. But I got enough other guys to make up for that. So I'm either going running back or tight end, or running back or wide receiver when it comes back to me. Probably wide receiver. We'll see how it falls. It's going to go down and up one more time. Crowder and Cobb just came off the board. See who this guy has at quarterback. He's got Burrow and Matt Ryan. Why did he want Randall Cobb? That is strange. Crowder, Buffalo. I don't think he's the one. No, he's not. He's got Lance. And some of these wide receiver picks late in the draft, it kind of makes me scratch my head, because if I'm going to grab a guy late, I'm going to try to pair him up like I did with AJ Green. I'm pairing him up for a reason, so it's a suspension. Now, in a perfect world, you'd also have Kyler Murray, but that didn't fall that way. But like, for instance, we were talking about earlier with the guy that drafted Daniel Jones. He doesn't have any other New York wide receivers. So what are you gaining from that? And another New England receiver going off the board. You can have those all day long. I love to see the New England receivers get drafted, because I know that means that I didn't have to draft them. It's coming back around. Waiting for that turn. So OBJ, he's getting interest from Chicago. I don't know if I want a wide receiver that's heading to the Bears. Zay Jones is interesting in Jacksonville. He does have Trevor Lawrence, so I don't hate that pick. He's got Trevor Lawrence, who's his other receiver, Lamar Jackson. I like what this guy did here. He paired up Duvernay with Lamar Jackson. He's got Zay Jones with Trevor Lawrence. You obviously would rather have. He's got James Robinson too. I'm starting to think this guy was a Jaguar fan. We're in the last round, and at this point, I've got 5 running backs, 7 receivers. It's really going to come down to who is still available out there. Probably going to go receiver. I don't think I need a 6th running back most times. The only time I do that is if I'm handcuffing the hell out of guys that have issues, but the only thing that I would want to do is if there's not a really good receiver sitting there, I may do Mark Ingram because I've got Alvin Kamara. And Tony Jones was a non-factor last year. See who's available at wide receiver. See if my guy is there, but I don't see him. He might have fallen way down the board. There he is, Keelan Cole. I think we might draft him. I've got Derek Carr, and Keelan Cole is just a really good athlete. And how many points am I really going to get off of Mark Ingram in a given season? So it's coming down to me. It's on the clock, and I'm going to go ahead and take Keelan Cole. Keelan Cole's a good athlete. I've got Derek Carr. I've already got Waller. And I've got, let's see, how do I guess that's it. I don't know how oh, here we go. Completed. Yeah, there's the team right there. So I've got, let me change this screen real quick so it's easier for y'all to see. So on this team here, I've got Derek Carr, Jameis Winston, and Deshaun Watson, like I said, was just a throw in the dark. Mainly it was because I knew Noku was still there at tight end. So I'm thinking to myself, if I draft him, I might as well have the combination, and we'll just see what happens with him. If he gets suspended for the year, it is what it is. I got McCaffrey, Kamara. I've got the running back in Houston, whether it ends up being Pierce or Mack. One of those guys are starting. I've got Harris, and thankfully, none of these guys share a bye week. If they would have shared a bye week, because I don't count Pierce and Mack on the same team. If they would have shared a bye week, then I would have had to really think about grabbing an extra running back and not getting a receiver. And here, this is just a receiving core that I love the depth in it. You got Brown, Metcalf, Hopkins, Renfro, Dobbs. Like I might have grabbed him a little early, but I don't have any shares of him yet. I just kind of wanted him. Jamison Williams, AJ Green, and then Keelan Cole's a dart throw. And like I said, I think this team's got a decent chance. Not my favorite team I've drafted, but a decent team. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and take off. Appreciate y'all tuning in. We are gonna do this again Thursday night, 6:30. Planning on doing this quite a bit, and then of course on Saturdays we do the Armchair Quarterback Show, and that's from 9 a.m. to noon. And from 10 a.m. to noon, it's pretty much just going to start being drafts, is what you can expect. So we're going to do probably at least 2 drafts this Saturday. They'll start somewhere between 9:30 and 10. and have a lot of fun with that. All right. Well, y'all have a good one, and we're going to go ahead and get out of here.